everyone. Welcome to Divine Disbelief. We are your home for secular news and opinion.
Yes, we are.
I'm Susan.
I am Nathaniel, and
Hi.
we are, and we are excited to have you in our new office.
Yes.
Which, if you have watched at all over the course of the past, I was on Spartan Theology the other day, sitting right here, and this even looks a little bit different from that. And the next time we're in the office, we have some hey Brainbug, good to see you. We have some audio stuff we're going to be still setting up, as well as new and exciting things are going to be here Sunday. We're very excited for that.
Yes.
And we're also much closer than we were to releasing our premiere video, which is an edited video, and Susan's really kind of making it. I'm just doing all the writing stuff. So.
You are doing all of the legwork for it.
Oh,
I'm doing creative stuff.
I do have nice legs.
You do.
So
You very much do.
Yes. And so, but we are happy to have you here on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to do this yesterday and decided not to. And we were not quite ready for the deep dive, which is it's exciting. This is, I think, going to be my favorite deep dive that we've done yet.
You're the crown jewel.
So far, if it works out anyways, the way that it has been written, the way that we're hoping to have it produced. So
I think it will.
Yes, but we are happy again that you're here. And again, really the way that we're doing this these days, and there are going to be changes moving forward. We're actually meeting with Eliakai tomorrow, whenever you are off work.
Yep.
And we'll be starting up that cool book club thing that literary something.
Secular Literary Circle.
There it is.
Yes.
Where we're going to be reading some stuff and going over all these awesome books. We're starting with Bart Ehrman's new book, Heaven and Hell. And if you would like to join us there, we're going to have all those details very soon. In fact, not just those details, but the way for you, if you would like to join us with that, to get your hands on that book and maybe not spend so much money on it. Yeah. Which is really, really nice.
Yeah, it's always a plus to not quite have to spend so much money.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. For the record, I am participating in this. I'm just posting everything everywhere.
Yep, she's putting some things out there, and so that's really great. But also, so we're going to go over the news here in just a moment, and then we're going to have the deep dive. And I don't really have a rant today. I mean, I kind of do. Yeah, I do. Never mind. I've got. You do
have a rant?
Yes, I do. And yeah, of course I do. And we have book and channel recommendations. I have the book recommendation, so Susan's going to do the channel recommendation. She just learned that.
I just learned that
as I said it. So from what I understand,
yes,
some somethings went down on the Easter.
Some bonkers stuff
on the Easter holiday.
Let's see what we would like to cover first.
I think it's like the beginning of Ramadan or something too. Ramadan goes. I think it was July. I don't know. Somebody mentioned to me today about like debating me about something I didn't even care, and they were like, "Yeah, it's just like 12:20 a.m. or something where I'm at, and Ramadan." And I was like, "Are you sure?"
Well, all right.
Because I feel like Ramadan's July. But again, I'm not a Muslim. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
So what do we got with the news?
So we will let's cover a class action lawsuit, shall we?
I do enjoy those.
I do too. Yeah, not ones that we're involved in.
Preferably not.
But still. So many of y'all had heard that Jerry Falwell Jr. was basically forcing students and employees of Liberty University to put their lives at risk by making being on campus mandatory.
Yeah, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yes, I'm pretty sure we did.
Christ.
Well, apparently Liberty University also needs to refund students a shit ton on fees that were paid to the school for the spring 2020 semester. And what do you know? A class action lawsuit was filed last Tuesday. We'll say it was last Tuesday in a Virginia federal court. The suit claims that even though Liberty University supposedly suspended its administrative functions and moved classes to online only, it played like it was still open by collecting fees from students for things like room and board and other activities. So we all know how much Falwell Jr. downplayed the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic, saying shit like how it's just similar to the seasonal flu.
It's not.
It's not. It's really not. That the reactions to it were just an effort to harm Trump.
Thanks,
and
IQ.
and hi IQ. And that the virus was a Christmas present from North Korea and China.
Yeah, he did say that, didn't he?
Yikes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Falwells are pretty well known for being really bad people.
Yeah, not good people.
Yeah.
Not good people. So, Liberty University is still claiming to be open, despite the stay-at-home order issued by Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, and the fact that, all their classes are currently online, and they can't do the whole gathering groups of more than 10 people thing anymore. And obviously this put a lot of the Liberty University students and their families in the very difficult position of either having to remain on a campus that is, in essence, very much closed, like it should be.
It is.
Or move home and run the risk of not getting that money they paid for room and board reimbursed to them. So, we've got, quote, Liberty's attempt to profit from the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic is reprehensible and incredibly hypocritical in light of the values upon which the university says it's based. That's from Adam Levitt, co-counsel for the plaintiffs and a partner at DiCello, Levitt, Gutzler, LLP in Chicago. Now, individual student fees for Liberty University for the 2019-2020 school year ranged from $9,200 to over $16,000. $16,000
for room and board?
For all of their fees. Room and board, activities, all of the bullshit that colleges tack on in terms of fees
like
and
a
stuff.
Lot.
It is a lot of money, and they think they have a right to do it. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's a private university, so they can do whatever they want.
They basically can. And rather than offer a prorated refund of the fees to make up for the school closure this semester, they offered students a pitiful $1,000 credit, and only to students who lived in the residence halls who chose not to come back and live on campus. Lawsuit alleges that even though numerous refund requests came in from students and their families, Liberty University has refused each and every one, with one student's parents even being personally insulted by Falwell Jr. himself on social media. Because who says social media isn't useful, right? Right. So, what do you think? What do you think is the percentage-wise? How sure are you that this is going to be entirely beneficial to the plaintiffs and just really bad for Liberty University? What do you think?
0%.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be on the hook for anything.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's still looks really awful to have a judgment filed against you. Yeah,
they're the Falwells, and this is Liberty University. They're going to play this like everybody did on Easter, and they're going to say they're being persecuted.
Exactly. Yeah, so we'll see how this one turns out. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I don't
have much confidence.
I don't expect a damn thing. No, and these Christians are going to go on, doing what they do. They're going to go back to school, and they're going to go back to that school.
Yeah.
And yeah,
they're not gonna give a crap.
Nope.
They're not. They're just not. I had to fix my little baby hairs. All right, moving on to some Easter conspiracies. Easter conspiracies. So if you haven't heard of Rodney Howard-Browne, well, consider yourself lucky. Howard-Browne is a South African-born evangelical pastor who currently preaches at the River Church in Tampa Bay, Florida, and he's got some conspiracy theories, y'all.
Just a few.
Just a few. Not a ton, just a few.
I remember being on Twitter and trying to get him to block me. I was saying so much about him.
At one point, I tried to get Ray Comfort to block me, and it just didn't work.
Turek blocked me.
Nice.
I don't even remember what I did.
I'm still jealous of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So back in 2017, he claimed that Hollywood and government leaders engage in cannibalism, pedophilia, and child sacrifice, and that he had been moved to pray over Trump over a planned attack that was being organized by, quote, people that hate God and hate America.
Me, basically. It was
me.
I mean, yeah. It was me.
Totally.
I obviously hate God and America.
Allegedly. So, as in, he apparently foiled a plan to assassinate Trump by praying, I guess?
We have not been yet on the Daily Atheist, but I think that we're going to be.
Yeah, so. Hopefully hopefully soon.
Yeah.
I really like him. So we'll just sort of let Howard-Browne think that he has actually successfully foiled that plan. So he also said that Trump is, quote, a Rambo that was sent by God, and that his presence is a bigger miracle than having 5 Lazaruses raised from the dead. Yeah, I don't know.
It seems my biggest issue is he called him Rambo.
I know.
Like, I've seen Rambo. I know John Rambo.
Sly Stallone, man.
Right. Yeah, like an 80s Rambo, not even the more recent one, which
Not
is
current
still.
Rambo.
How can you compare? Whatever. Again, my biggest issue compared to Rambo.
That's true. That's a good point.
I'm not telling.
So anyway.
It won't end up well for Rodney.
This year, Howard-Browne made the official declaration that the world is controlled by blood-drinking Luciferians. And, of course, that many members of Congress are involved in pedophilia, but that's not a new conspiracy theory at all.
Yeah.
He also said that Trump was being forced to withhold information on the Kennedy assassination because otherwise, quote, they would have to pick up George Bush Sr. in his wheelchair right now and stick him in Guantanamo prison because the Bush family is a crime cabal.
And that was before he died, right? Bush Sr.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'd imagine so.
Even
otherwise, he doesn't know that Bush Sr. is dead.
Never know.
I mean, I'm not going to put it past him at all.
Hey, Lissy, good to see you. So, I mean, he's a big fan of, like, Lazarus stuff, so you never know.
Yeah, they could feasibly, I guess, raise George Bush Sr. from the dead? I don't know. Bohemian Grove in the Redwoods of Northern California. It's a men's-only club founded out of San Francisco, said Howard-Browne. That's why homosexuality is at an all-time high, because half of them are all involved in it, including the Congress and the Senate, and it goes all the way to pedophilia at the highest levels of government. I am really guessing that Howard-Browne is very, very glad for the First Amendment right now, because this conspiracy theory shit is completely bonkers. Yeah. It is fruit bad crackers nuts.
He has a mega church.
Yeah. And what is even worse and what really gets me is that there's so many of these people who like believe it, who are going to believe and eat up every single word that he says. They're just going to follow it completely blindly.
You'll eat it like pizza.
Exactly. Pizzagate.
Hashtag Pizzagate.
Hashtag. Yeah, so I don't know.
The conspiracy man. I remember when there was an arrest warrant for him.
Really?
Yeah, in Panama or City or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, they like arrested him or had an arrest warrant. No, they did arrest him.
Oh wow.
Yep.
What did they arrest him for?
Because he gathering of more than 10 or whatever.
Oh,
and then
okay.
DeSantis or whatever the fuck his name is over there in Florida said, "Never mind. Churches are essential. Let this fucker go." So he was like, "Let my people go," and then because they did, God responded by sending a plague.
I mean,
you know what?
It's in the Bible.
This is a conspiracy theory that actually works. So,
that's true. That's true.
Thanks,
all right.
Cynthia. Good to see you.
Hey. So, moving on to Tony Spell.
Good old Tony.
No, we talked about Tony Spell 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Right? We talked about him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
so Tony Spell has had a run of bad luck recently.
Call it that.
Trying to deal with members of his congregation and one of his attorneys contracting COVID-19 or contracting. One parishioner has already passed away, and we do not take any joy in this. I want to make that incredibly clear. We take literally no joy in this.
No.
I'm saying that incredibly seriously. This is no sarcasm. So Spell also has to deal with an arrest record now. Allegedly, Spell backed his church van dangerously close to protester Troy Bennett, who has been protesting Spell in his foolish decision to still hold church services that even bust people in for Easter.
It's true.
Spell was charged with aggravated assault and improper backing, and working against his favor. The entire incident was caught on tape and has, of course, been posted to the internet. This series of tubes. Spell posted bail and walked out of the jail to a cheering congregation who gathered in support of their pastor. Spell said, "My right to have church and to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ are endowed by my Creator, not my district attorney, not my chief of police, and not my governor John Bell Edwards. I cannot give up those rights. God forbids me to give up those rights."
No, he doesn't.
I know.
The Bible literally says to listen to the people who are appointed above you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you would think, but you know,
No, I wouldn't.
cherry picking.
No, I wouldn't.
Cherry picking.
I know them well enough. I wouldn't think that at all. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, and this is the same guy who faces misdemeanor charges for, of course, defying the order banning gatherings of more than 50. But authorities said that they didn't book him into the jail for those charges because they wanted to prevent overcrowding, especially with someone who either already has COVID-19 or is at risk of contracting it very, very soon, like Tony Spell is.
Yeah.
Another parishioner, not the one who died, obviously, also faces charges of aggravated assault and reckless operation of a motor vehicle for basically doing the same thing as Spell. I could not find this guy's name. I couldn't remember, or I didn't write it down. Yeah, he basically did the same thing as Spell, and he is also facing assault, or aggravated assault charges.
Good.
So.
Yeah, it turns out you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't. Like, newsflash. Can't do that. So we've got a couple of pieces of good news that we will close out our headlines segment with. So first, dozens of celebrities gathered around a Passover table, virtually of course, to raise money for COVID-19 relief efforts. And that's super cool.
Appreciate that.
Yes, I definitely do. That is, I'm really, really glad that celebrities are like using this for good. Like it's amazing and I love it. So with names like Idina Menzel, who I absolutely adore, Jason Alexander, Ilana Glazer, and Deborah Messing getting together to help retell the biblical story of the Israelites' liberation from slavery, the online Seder was set up by the CDC Foundation to raise money for a coronavirus emergency response fund and was called Saturday Night Seder. I love it so much. Now, SNS was set up by StoryCourse and ran the program in 2017 and 2018 and has produced Seders that included a ton of stars performing in New York City. But, of course, this version was streamed via social distancing and some pre-recorded segments.
Always like that.
I know, right? They adapted this amazing thing. And it's great. It's wonderful. So Benj Pasek, I think I'm saying it right, I don't know, a songwriter who worked on the Broadway musical Dear Evan Hansen, and is one of the organizers behind the event, told the New York Times that the story of Passover, with its theme of going from confinement to freedom, speaks perfectly into what a broad swath of Americans are experiencing today. At the Seder table, we ask ourselves, what can you do for people who are suffering because you once suffered, Pasek said. We want to amplify that message because it is one of hope and also one that asks people to give of themselves however they can. And this is one use of religion that I can get behind.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this. I really, really do.
Yeah.
And I think it's a way to, and then they also incorporated a lot of, like people who aren't Jewish. I don't remember the technical term for people who aren't Jewish.
Gentiles.
There we go. Thank you. They also incorporated a lot of Gentiles into it and sort of used it as a learning experience for people who might not know a lot about Seder and Passover and stuff. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I mean, I imagine they left out the fact, that murdered all the firstborn.
Yeah, all the blood and stuff.
I mean, you can, I'm behind you on your charity thing. That's cool.
Yeah, charity, cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Seder raised over $2 million for the CDC Foundation.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They need it.
They do. They really do. So that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So finally tonight, with our other piece of good news.
Yes, funny.
I love this.
This is actually really funny.
CBS has canceled the ridiculous show God Friended Me. Yay! If you're not familiar with the show, the premise was this. An outspoken atheist, who's an atheist podcaster at that, which is the best part, is that he's an atheist podcaster, as opposed to he's like super famous.
Oh.
Which is like...
Us, obviously.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah, which is why God would send us a friend request on Facebook.
Yes.
Would you send it to you, though? Because I don't have one.
I would probably just leave it in my friend requests and not pay attention to it. Like I have done a lot of.
I'm a fan of entertaining that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So this outspoken atheist gets his life turned upside down when he receives a friend request on Facebook from none other than God. And of course it is the Christian God, of course, because what other God would it be? Because there is no other God, obviously. Supposedly, obviously it's the God of the Bible, but I haven't watched enough of the show to know whether that's true or not. You would think so.
I don't know. I never watched a single episode.
Yeah, me neither. I heard him do it on God Awful Movies.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
reason
so I basically
to not watch it.
Right. Anyway, so he suddenly becomes this agent of change, finding himself capable of making differences in the lives and destinies of those around him. I guess the show really buys into the whole, free will argument instead of predetermined stuff and God's plan and things of that nature. You can change things. I don't know. Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, so like I said, God Awful Movies actually reviewed the first episode after its premiere, and if you haven't heard that, you should do that as soon as possible, because that show is amazing.
Yeah, go follow them. They're awesome folks.
They are. I'm a little biased. So, the series will have a 2-hour finale on April 26th, and a joint statement from CBS and Warner Brothers said, quote, "The creative team behind the show has one last friend suggestion in mind, as well as an ending we hope brings a satisfying conclusion to Miles's journey in search of the God account."
Cool.
Now, okay. I'm not taking a ton of joy in this. I'm glad that a really, really awful series is going to finish.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not taking joy in the fact that people are losing their jobs. That's not what I'm taking joy in.
Welcome to 2020.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people are already losing their jobs because of the pandemic. But when you have an audience that's saying stuff like, "Well, it's time to stop supporting CBS, and this was the only uplifting show on TV." Yeah, I don't know. They should watch I Survived instead, because that's pretty uplifting.
It didn't have the highest ratings or reviews.
No, it didn't.
So, well, yeah.
If you're going to stop watching CBS because they are canceling a show that is not financially a good idea.
Cancel culture, man.
I'm done.
Hey, they don't like cancel culture either.
I mean, obviously. Right. All right.
So, for nearly 10 years, a small town in Northeast Texas has been the subject of a bit of scrutiny from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. But oh my goodness, that is just scratching the surface of a true story we could probably make into a major motion picture. The subject of tonight's deep dive, the first in a series of 2 on this subject, is Controversy in Hawkins, Texas. I didn't unmute the microphone. So, yeah. See, remember earlier? You're still on the screen. Remember earlier?
I'm trying not to be.
Remember earlier whenever I said, we should really put that on the Elgato?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have listened to myself. So, welcome anyways. This is how this goes when I try to produce a show.
Do you want to go back and redo the deep dive splash?
No, I've got it from right here.
Okay.
I've got it. We can edit this in post, right?
We totally can.
Hey, Tart and Snowflake. I appreciate those of you that are saying there's no sound. So I'm going to restart this. Here we go. So if you have not heard about what's gone on in Hawkins since 2011, bless your little heart. If you have, we feel your pain and are deeply sorry to have put you through this again. Now, to anybody who would have read online articles about Hawkins, it appeared as though the city was deciding how to handle 2 separate letters from Wisconsin-based Freedom from Religion Foundation. But, much like ogres, this town was an onion. A stinky onion with layers of stinkiness. Now, this all began in a seemingly innocent way when, in 2011, local resident Will Rogers no relation to Oklahoma's favorite son and all-around hunk who shares his name, moved his family to Hawkins and noticed the lack of a welcome sign. You know, like the one you see in What Is Going On. It's messing up.
Hawkins.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yep. I saw it on there.
I'm sorry.
Damn it. Mother. Don't know what's going on there. Well,
try this. Well,
this is what happens even when you do it, you know? It doesn't matter.
Let's go back.
I made this earlier and it worked. Next. Go back. You're going next. You're going the wrong direction.
I know, but
I don't know what you're doing.
Isn't this close to the end?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Promise this worked earlier. So, wow. See, now it's not as funny as it would have been.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Okay, whoa. Onions, stuff, go forward. Thanks, everybody, for... Hey, thanks. Yeah, the Pandemic Beard's awesome. Appreciate your comments while we're trying to figure this out. So, let me see if this works. I don't even know which one you're on.
Local resident Will Rogers.
Yeah. So, what's the next slide?
Oklahoma's favorite son?
Well, yeah, but what's the next? There it is, yeah. An all-around hunk who shares this guy's name moved his family to Hawkins and noticed the lack of a welcome sign. You know, like the one you see when you enter Las Vegas. Unable to allow such a travesty to continue, he drew up plans for a sign himself and presented his idea to the city council. They took one look at his idea, approved the motion unanimously, and sent it off to be constructed by shop students at Hawkins ISD. The new sign, which isn't the one you currently see because it already existed, and Rogers, again not the amazing specimen of natural beauty you see here, apparently didn't realize there were two entrances to the town and missed the one which boasts Hawkins is the pancake capital of Texas. It is the home of Jarvis Christian College, more on them later. NFL All-Pro star, whatever that means, because I've heard of All-Star, All-Pro, and Star, but never All-Pro star. Stanley Richard, who I'm guessing got by because of his Ricky Bobby style name, but whichever. And finally, the home of Lillian Richard, who you might recognize as Aunt Jemima. Yeah, Aunt Jemima, the racist mascot for Quaker Oats syrup stuff. Except it couldn't have been Lillian Richards because her name is spelled wrong on the sign. And as it turns out, of course, she was the aunt of All-Pro star Stanley Richard. So I guess that's interesting. Now again, this sign, as flawed as it is, already existed. It still exists. I went to Google Maps and grabbed this earlier today. Just drive to the other side of town, man. Oh, and by the way, there's one on the south side of town as well. Oh, but there's even more. There's another welcome sign, this one on the same side of the highway where Rogers wanted to put his sign, only this sign was actually at the entrance to town. So Rogers' sign isn't even in the right place. It's further down the way on the same highway where there's already a fucking sign. Now, anyway, fresh off of his unanimous project approval, Rogers apparently thought luck was on his side and said he was compelled to run for mayor by, quote, by God and by old folks who remembered Hawkins in better times. Our nation is truly in trouble right now, he said, and it's all pieces of these small cities that make up our entire nation. And if we could ever just take care of our backyard first and get things together and see what our problems are and fix them, we can just come together in Jesus' name and make things happen. So in 2012, he ran against incumbent Mayor Howard Colquitt, no relation to Lord Farquaad, and lost by 1 vote. A mandatory recount ensued, but unlike the result in Parks and Rec, nobody made an error in counting 42 votes. But Jerry definitely still forgot to vote. Damn it, Jerry. Rogers still lost by 1. He then, as almost all mature adults do, sued Coquat and the city, alleging they had rigged the election with ineligible voters. Now, this suit went nowhere. He still lost the race by 1 vote, and the city was on the hook for the suit's $20,000 price tag. Now, things were fairly quiet in the town for the rest of 2012 and 2013, with Rogers running his coffee shop on the edge of town, his property 25 feet from the sign he had commissioned just 2 years prior. But then 2014 began, and oh, what a whirlwind of madness was about to encircle the tiny town. That spring, Rogers figured, with Coquat retiring, there was no better time to again try his luck at the whole politics thing. He won a 3-person race by more than 1 vote and promised to, quote, root out corruption. The city council would discover, as would Jefferson and Madison, in June 2014, Hawkins ISD, and I swear this is their logo, which is apparently a hawk, an eagle. I don't know. It's definitely an eagle, right? Well, no matter what, it's a dinosaur. This dinosaur is swooping in to attack a shield. And on the crest of this shield is an oil derrick, the letter H, which I'm guessing they borrowed from Rice University, who coincidentally, by the way, has a dinosaur on their logo, a longhorn, and at the bottom, an open book with a key that I can only assume is the Illuminati. So what exactly is this town's mascot? Do they just switch it up weekly so other teams are confused? This makes no sense. Seriously, even the NFL team in Kansas City has a logo that's easy to figure out because it easily shows us what racism and cultural appropriation looks like. And I've never said this before, but you made a mistake, Paul Rudd. Made a mistake. Anyway, the school, home of the dinosaur Derek, Logan, Longhorn, Illuminati's, whatever, received a letter from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. A concerned parent had contacted the group because a teacher had been leading the school's Feed and Seed Club during lunch period, reading from the Bible and inviting local religious leaders to speak to students. The parents were not informed that their children were participating, and the teacher also read religious materials on Good Friday during instructional time. That means when there was actually school going on. So staff attorney Sam Grover, that's the guy here, sent a letter which said, allowing a public school teacher to read religiously themed materials with no pedagogical purpose, such as pedagogical The Tale of Three Trees, to a 6th grade class on Good Friday in an attempt to proselytize the teacher's personal religious views shows the district's endorsement of religion. He wrote that on the 4th of June. So on August 5th, the superintendent replied that regulations and practices regarding extracurricular and co-curricular clubs were reviewed, as well as classroom instructional material guidelines, saying, "We are working to make certain that Hawkins ISD complies with all applicable laws, including the First Amendment prohibition concerning the endorsement of religion." So the school disbanded the club that month, with the district stating if the club returns as a strictly student-led group, the teacher involved in the abuses will not be approved as faculty supervisor. That's a good step. So in July of 2014, while the school district was figuring out exactly how to follow the Constitution, newly minted rookie mayor Will Rogers decided he was going to exercise some executive authority. He pulled his truck in front of the home of a woman named Candy Palmertree, blocking her driveway, and proceeded to threaten to fine her $500 a day until she cleaned her yard and cut the grass. He then pointed to a portable concession stand in Palmertree's driveway and threatened another $500 a day fine unless she got rid of it. So how do we know all of this? Well, it's from the official police report. Rogers was arrested, photographed, and booked into the Wood County Jail on a charge of official oppression. Now, a jury declined to indict him, and that apparently went to his head. So in February of 2015, Rogers reminded council members that he was considering suing the city over his arrest the previous summer because it was obvious their fault that he broke the law, warning that they might need to stow away an extra $10,000 for legal fees. That May, he proposed a resolution that would let him join the city fire department. When council member Wayne Kirkpatrick...
Oh.
Yep, that's okay. And there you go. There's Wayne. Kirkpatrick argued that the move would amount to a conflict of interest. The exchange turned mean. You're a conflict of interest, Wayne, Rogers huffed. Now why, when everybody's talking about the business of the council, do you make those kind of statements to me? Wayne asked wearily. You've called me stupid. You say I'm a conflict of interest. After a brief back and forth, Rogers threw down the gauntlet. Let's get it going on, Wayne. Now, does all of this seem a little bit out there? Like we're in a fucking twilight zone of a town. Well, we're just getting started. This is Act 2. So the real fun began when a citizen from Hawkins, who I met and am friends with, and she is seriously amazing, contacted these folks right here about a religious sign on public property. The sign read, Jesus welcomes you to Hawkins. Can you hide the first one?
Oh, I can.
Yeah.
My bad.
There it is.
Where'd it go?
I don't know. It's still there. There it is.
My bad, sorry.
So, and sat facing east on Highway 80, just 25 feet from Rogers Cafe. On June 1st, Sam Grover, apparently well acquainted with Hawkins from previous dealings, sent a letter to the city council stating, the Jesus welcomes you to Hawkins sign sends a message to the city's citizens that the Hawkins government is endorsing and compelling belief in a particular God. By endorsing such a belief, the sign sends the message to non-adherents that they are outsiders, not full members of the political community, and an accompanying message to adherents that they are insiders or favored members. He went on to add an incredibly important perspective, saying, the message assumes a common religious belief, yet imagine the public outrage had the city posted a sign saying, Mohammed welcomes you to Hawkins, or no God welcomes you to Hawkins. It is equally inflammatory and inappropriate to post a sign saying Jesus welcomes you to Hawkins. One would think the olive branch would have worked, but I don't think the citizens of Hawkins and the surrounding areas read to the second part of the document. They saw, or were told about, the government trying to take away their right to freely worship, which seems, by the way, fairly relevant to the shit that's going on right now. Or something like that. I don't know. They weren't having it. The monthly city council meeting was scheduled for June 15th, and that was when I had the opportunity to make the 2-hour drive north from Lufkin, Texas to Hawkins. At that time, all I knew about was the issue with the sign. I had no idea that I was walking into what I was walking into, but my first foray into defense of the Constitution came at the cost of likely some of my sanity. And that's where we'll pick up next week, when I meet an alligator wrangling, deed of property reading preacher and his wife, hear about arson and conspiracy theories, and even try my hand at building bridges by mentioning the 4th of July. It doesn't work, and you will not want to miss that. There we are.
Yay!
That works.
That was only a minor mess up on my part.
No.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really awesome.
Hawkins was a fun place.
I imagine so. I'm really excited for next week.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
It's gonna be bonkers, right?
Oh my gosh. It is that. It's like an alternate fucking timeline.
Ooh.
I cannot. I don't know what universe we're in, but I thought that 2015 was a pretty good year for me. And I must have selective memory or something. Because going back in this, I was writing my friend today, talking about this. She was the one who, she lives in Austin now.
Mm-hmm.
And everything about that, I'm telling you, it's fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I think if that hadn't gone the way that it eventually does,
Mm-hmm.
because it does, it's great. It's fucking awesome. Every way that it goes is it's not the bedroom, Heath.
It is an office.
But everything that happens with this is, I'm telling you, it's in like multiple acts, right? And it's got a climax and everything, and it's because you think the heroes are gonna lose type shit, and there's like
Nice.
get up off the mat and do stuff, and as in it's great. So
I'm excited for next week.
Could make literally a movie about it because it's so fucking nuts, man. And there's a point like Hitler is mentioned.
That's not surprising.
Charities without Jesus, like would they even exist, is mentioned. And then again, there's other constitutional stuff that's mentioned.
Oh,
and it is fucking fabulous. I did not read the comments, so I'm going to do that right now. See what we got.
Yeah, let's see what's going on in our comments.
Oopsie. No sound. Let's see here. Appreciate those of you that are there.
I'm also digging the pandemic beard. I just want to say, I think it is gorgeous. But you are also gorgeous. So.
Yes. Starting Snowflake. Appreciate your comments. He did miss apparently one of. There's also now if he were driving in from the north, I didn't see one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see a sign. But from the south, it's that same sign, and yes, spelled incorrectly. Lillian's name, by the way,
so
on the signs. Lillian's name on the signs, if you didn't see that, is spelled Lilian. It's actually spelled Lillian. And they would know that because there is one of those historical markers in Hawkins. It's spelled properly.
Why?
I'm telling you, this city is fucking nuts.
I don't.
It's great.
Why? I just can't. I can't. Get on with that.
Thought the H was for Hovend.
That's
and the
funny.
sign, yeah.
I like it.
That was, and I think, I believe I knew Heath back then too, so I know that Heath knows about this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh my gosh, for a town of less than 1,300 people, it's got the problems of a city.
Oof.
I mean, there's stuff like with money that they've got the methamphetamine problems, the Jarvis Christian Church, which is literally like, I don't know, 2 miles from the town or something like that.
College.
Yeah. It's basically a large church. They run a lot of stuff inside of the town, so it's all the city council meetings are my favorite.
Oh yikes!
So, but that's Hawkins, and
that is a blast.
Yes,
it was great.
And we'll finish that next week, but. Let's see here. What do we got this week again? Oh, you know what?
We have book recommendation.
Yeah, we have that, and then we have a rant. Do you have a rant this week? I didn't write anything, but I've got a rant.
No, I mean, it's. I feel like it's a rant that everybody else has. Is that I just want to get the hell out of the house. I know that this is the best for society. I realize that.
Wait, is there no audio? What the heck now?
You're not muted, are you?
No.
We should be good. Did I unplug something by accident?
No, it looks we got audio coming through.
Making sure. I was trying to think. Oh, I think
it's you, sir. It ain't me. Leave me alone, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sarah's trying to mess with my...
I know, right? What the hell? I realize, I completely understand. I especially know firsthand that social distancing and self-isolation and all that stuff, I know. I'm aware. Like, I fully know that it is what is best for society and what is best for
It's true.
everybody right now.
Yeah.
I just want to go, like, eat at a restaurant. I just want to go grocery shopping.
God.
Like, no, see, I like grocery shopping.
You can go
That's
by
the difference
yourself.
between me and you is I like grocery shopping.
The fact that click, 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 and it shows up, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that's driving me bonkers.
Man, good times.
I don't know. I want to be able to get out of the house, and again, I fully understand and appreciate what this is all about. I know it's not about me; it's about everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm just. I want to not have to be. No, well, we can't really go out in public because I'm a type 1 diabetic. So I am at a higher risk of contracting COVID-19 and having complications from it. And, you know, it always takes me longer to heal from stuff. Like my broken ankle took me like 7 months to heal.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a while. But, you know, we're not going out in public for the sake of not just us, but everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we all have to do. So, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, use disinfectant wipes. If you don't have to go out in public, unless you, like, have to go to the pharmacy, just don't.
Yeah.
Don't go out in public.
Yeah, it's for the safety of everybody.
Yeah.
We did have the opportunity, we went out to Mount St. Helens on...
Sunday.
Saturday morning or Sunday morning, right?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, and
Everything's
it was foggy,
It was,
so we couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
At all. It was very foggy. Then we came back, and
Then it cleared up.
not only that, but on the Mount St. Helens creation shit.
Yes, I thought we were gonna tackle that later.
We are, yeah, but that happened. That happened.
So we had
we're
gone
tackling it later.
Okay. Well,
But yeah,
no.
Literally just had to come on, babe. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say we went to the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose about a year ago. Or
Yeah.
No, over a year ago.
February, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
before like pre-ankle.
Yeah. If you wanna hurt yourself mentally.
Yeah, go to the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas. We went there. We like took a bunch of pictures and took some video and stuff. So I think we should.
Yeah.
I think we should eventually like make an actual video out of that.
Yeah, that was.
So.
Oh man, that was fun.
But
there is a creation bullshit in southwestern Washington that's near Mount St. Helens.
Yup.
If you don't know, Mount St. Helens is used by creationist pieces of garbage to try and show that, look, the Great Flood can totally happen right here because look at all these rocks. And I'm like, they're not rocks, you fucking moron. These aren't rocks. This is called a lahar, right? I know what, and I was showing, you could see some of those the other day.
Yeah.
It's still fucking like muddy and shit like that, but that's how they use that. And so there's one up by St. Helens. So whenever it's open, we're gonna go there. And they have a little website, I guess.
They do. They have merch. I want a shirt. If you would like to buy me a Mount St. Helens Creation Museum t-shirt.
Don't do it.
I wear an adult medium.
Don't do it.
And I will DM you the address to which it needs to be sent.
Oh, God.
Please get me a Mount St. Helens Creation Museum t-shirt.
There were like 0 books. They have like 100 and some odd books. There were 0 of them, I think, that I was really interested in.
There were a couple that you were all like, oh, I mean, I guess I could read that.
Yeah, but
no, they had a lot of books, a lot of education related stuff. So it's a lot of the Christian homeschool curriculums and stuff like that.
You'll redraw. There you go.
Ooh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Instead of giving them money, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like it.
I saw the guy went out. One of our neighbors who has like a second floor balcony went outside, and I saw like this huge like Portland Trailblazers. Oh, he's wearing it on his shirt, and he's playing fetch with his enormous dog.
Yeah, our next door neighbors have a humongous dog.
Yeah, it took up more of the screen.
Huge dog.
But unless you can get the shirt, no, I don't think they can get this free. But
I can tell them it's for publicity's sake.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna talk about them on our channel.
We'll bring you up. So that's gonna be something in our future. Yes, I have for the longest time been very aware of, and we've been very outspoken regarding a certain privilege in the atheist community. And if you look around the atheist community, you see a lot of people that look and sound just like me.
Accurate.
And by that, I mean white males. More often than not, straight, cis males, right? Dominate our atheist culture, I guess. And you read the books, most of them are written by white males. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of thought processes that permeate throughout our community are from those same people. And yes, that is not necessarily a bad thing, to have a variety of thoughts that come from a certain number of people, especially if those people have shown that they have good reason to provide this information. However, what we have is not just a lack of representation from anybody else, because we do, but rather a stone-faced refusal to accept representation from women, from trans people, from minorities. The fact, by the way, that if you are watching this right now and you can name some minorities that are on, shows you exactly what I'm talking about. The fact that we can name all of them that have large enough channels. The fact that we can name all of them, and we can, by the way, right? We definitely can, that have those channels. Is it that they are incapable or unable to make this content, which is fucking phenomenal? No, of course not. Is it that they are unable to speak for people and to bring things to the forefront? No, of course not. Some of our best content creators, some of the people with the best voices, the loudest voices, are those who have for their entire lives and by no fault of their own been marginalized and been pushed to the sides of society and been oppressed and persecuted. Those people, the people of the LGBTQ community, in whatever fashion that they subsist and survive, should not be shown any type of hostility when they attempt to join, and also should not be responded to with hostility and vitriol when they bring up the conversation. Or when folks that are my friends inside of the amazing pagan community, the heathens that I know and love, bring it up that atheists, internet atheists, y'all a bunch of fucking assholes.
Can confirm.
We are. Okay, I'm an asshole. Okay. It's
I'm an asshole too.
True statement. Let me just go ahead and put this out there. On purpose most of the time. I antagonize purposefully.
You do like to troll.
I do. Yes. But if somebody were to bring information to me to which I could see was damaging somebody else or was in some form or fashion hindering another person's speech, another person's ability to express properly what they were saying, or to block their roads into proper communication and open and honest conversation, then why shouldn't I listen? And yet I see that to be the case among the atheist community. And by the way, it's really funny when I see atheists who are like, we don't have a community, but then I see you guys. I see us talking about the community. We say those words. We use the phrase. When we go to Faithless Forum, right, it's a community of atheists going and speaking with content creators. And content creators having the opportunity to be there. It is a community. And we are lucky to have the ability to even build that community, because look at this. If it had been 100 years ago, how do you think that people would have reacted? So we have been given the opportunity finally to have a say in the things that go on around us. We have been given the opportunity finally to have people listen to us. Why should we not have the amazing variety and diversity that makes up the secular community But not only that, the heathens, why should we not understand them and ask questions instead of assuming? Why do we insult, and you know what? Benny Barkington agrees with me. Why do we insult Christians for their belief? We were Christians. The vast majority of American atheists were Christians. I was. You're insulting me 10 years ago. Talk to me about my belief, but don't belittle me because I believe something. Again, the dog agrees.
He does.
He's literally, I think, right outside the window.
I'm pretty sure he is.
And not only that, but when we are called out for what we say and what we do, we should listen. Because we've had the floor for long enough telling people what's right and what's wrong and what to believe and what not to believe. And we've been wrong about it more than a few times. But when a person who's not white, cis, male, or even somebody that's not even an atheist, how many Christian friends I have? We should not demean those individuals, and we should give them the opportunities that we have always had. It's the reason I could never dream of doing this show, by the way, without Susan. She makes the show. We converse, and how can we make it do better and stuff like that, but I would never, ever have a show without her. Not because, by the way, that I'm trying to show this is how you should include people. No. But just because I don't want to. And I know that her voice is as important as mine is. In fact, it's more important than mine is. Oh, it is. Having a different voice providing these ideas is important. And when people call us out for our unwillingness to do so, it only hurts us. And it continues to show that we are a closed-off community of people. And are we? Is that what we are? Because I don't want to be, and I'm not. But every single person that speaks represents me. Mm-hmm. Whether I like it or not. There's no true Scotsman when it comes to atheists either. You speak about atheism and this lack of belief and stuff, right? And how you were once religious or some form or fashion of that. Now, of course, yeah, I understand the we don't have a book to go by thing. I get that. But when we speak, people listen to us. And when we disallow others from speaking as well, that's a problem. So, and Darn Snowflake, I agree, and I understand that. The discomfort and anger in the early process of leaving religion. And they don't, and I agree. But those are the people that we need to embrace as well.
Teach them how to let go of the anger. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who are very upset with religion and harm that it's done. And, we don't mean to ever, invalidate anybody's feelings.
No.
But we need to make sure that we're striving to understand other people. And yeah, it's about being a humanist. It's not necessarily, you can't just have being an atheist as your entire identity.
Yeah.
You can have other aspects to yourself. So, yeah.
Yep. And if somebody that's on a YouTube channel says something, and if you're like us and you have a smaller channel, so call them bitches out.
Yeah.
If they say and do things that are incorrect, call them out. Like what I said and did, on Raging Atheist channel.
Yeah.
don't be, if you're right about something and you know that you are and you feel the moral necessity to say something, do it.
Moral
Absolutely.
turpitude, as it were.
Moral turpitude. So, there you go. That's my little rant there.
Enjoy that. Mine always seem like so insignificant in comparison.
I was listening to yours.
Well,
and I was like, I'm going to sound so angry.
Well, no. The difference is that you get into these discussions with people. Like, I make it a point to avoid a lot of discussions like that because I realize that I'm not well equipped to have those discussions. I'm more equipped to have, this sort of in-depth discussions about, like, repro justice stuff and women's rights and things of that nature. That is me. That is my wheelhouse. Your wheelhouse is the historicity and a lot of the, just a lot of the Christianity stuff in general. It's not my wheelhouse.
It's true.
So, I do have a channel recommendation. Do you want me to do that first, or do you want to do book first?
No, book first.
Okay.
Cool.
Book.
So, Susan. I think I wrote on Twitter not too long ago that if I am able to accomplish one thing in life for the rest of my life, it will be that I have been around to see that I have supported Susan in accomplishing what I know she is capable of doing and standing in the shadows as support because I want to.
No.
And if your face is the last one that I see, then I will know that I have lived a life worthy of seeing you. So,
No.
But my book recommendation this week is not. It's not a religious book at all.
It's not.
I mean,
it's not.
It kind of is. There's like little religious elements in it. But it's a phenomenal book. I didn't know you had this book. And remember this when I found this the other day?
Yeah, you were all like, wait, how do you have this book?
She has Watership Down.
Guess who has two thumbs and has never read it? This gal.
This is such an awesome book.
Never read it.
Oh, Richard Adams is great.
Never read it.
Oh, man.
I have a lot of books I have not read.
He's written other books too, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, Richard Adams.
Cool.
I mean, he passed away early 2000s or something crazy like that. Yeah, this book was like originally written like the 60s, I think.
I think the 70s.
Or was it the 70s? 72, yep.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know how I knew that.
Such a good book. If you have not read this, it's about rabbits that can talk, obviously, and about a crow that helps them, and a journey. It's kind of like, it's kind of like Lord of the Rings, just without so much death and weird Middle Earth nonsense.
So like Animal Farm, sort of, but without the socialism?
Yeah, it's more like a monarchy altogether. So it is really, really good. I cannot recommend this book enough. I'm turning it the wrong direction because everything is mirrored on here, but it's so good. You should definitely get this book and read it. And it's pretty thick, but I mean, you're like doing like the self-isolation thing right now anyways. You ain't got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Right? You just read this book and yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
So, channel?
I do have a channel recommendation. I feel like I am very late to the game on this one. Because I am always late to the game on everything. So I actually just recently seriously started watching Nate Brody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He is awesome.
He's a funny guy.
He is amazing. He is so fucking smart. He reminds me of you in that he breaks things down, like he is able to explain things in such a manner that it is very easy to understand. And he is super funny. He's super entertaining. He's got a great channel, so I highly recommend Nate Brody.
Yeah.
He has way more followers than we do, but I don't care. He's wonderful. I really like him. I think he's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, recommend that one.
Well, there
I'm
we
trying
go.
to think.
No, that's it.
I don't think there's anything else that I've really discovered recently.
Well, it's only one one per week, Susan. I'm gonna
No, I
run
know,
out of
but
books
I'm
for
trying
running
to
channels.
think. Yeah, we only have some. Well, we have a lot of books.
I have also like a lot of ebooks too, so I don't know how that's gonna work. I have to like print out the first page and be like, read this, just this one page.
Hold up my Kindle. I do have a Kindle.
But yes, she does.
I do.
But that is about it for us. Let's see. We're going to be back. We'll be back live next Wednesday. So in the meantime, if you have any articles that you would like us to take a look at and that we miss, or if you have some deep dive recommendations, we've got the next couple ones kind of figured out. But if you got some of those, absolutely would love to hear that and kind of be able to go into that. Absolutely. And you can find us on Twitter. I pretty much run the Divine Disbelief Twitter account. And
he's sort of taken it over since he got rid of his personal one.
Works out. And then Susan, she's on Twitter too.
I'm Motel Cowboy.
Yep.
You can follow the dogs. They're Dos Corgis 1-5.
They haven't been too active recently.
No, I haven't really posted anything.
I haven't either. We got plenty of photos and videos.
Yeah.
So just haven't really put anything on there.
Yeah.
And again, we have a video coming up. We've collaborated with a bunch of other folks on it, and think it's really about ready to go into like real like production. So
I hope so.
It's we wanted to have it out far before now, but things get in the way. Anyways,
he is also incredibly thorough. He wants to make sure that what he says is correct and that he is presenting things in the most honest manner. So you always go above and beyond for this stuff. So I definitely appreciate that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying that too.
Of course.
But that's it for us today. If you like what we have, please share everything here so other folks can see this content as well. And then we're going to be doing some stuff with Patreon once we start, really making these again. So
yeah,
that'll work. So, Susan,
bye.
I am hungry.
I'm hungry too.
Cool.
Nice to meet you, Hungry.
Bye, everybody.